very much. I appreciate your attentiveness and your ability to go through this game. So, just really quick, as you were going around the room, were there things that you saw in other people's paper and you were like, oh man, why didn't I think of that? What were some of those things that you may have seen on someone else's paper and said, that was a good idea, I should have looked at that? Help. All right, so help was one. What was another one? Friend. Or a friend. All right, one more. Freedom. All right, cool. Oh, I forgot to ask, was there, oh, yes, sir.
I heard money, but I don't know I have that.
He heard money. So, one thing I forgot to ask is, was there anyone that was able to get 10 people to sign on their piece of paper? Anyone get 10 people? All right. Anyone get 9? 8? 7? Oh, you had 8? All right, please raise your hand, 8. All right, I think 8 is your hand. Cool. Was there anyone that was not able to get any signatures at all on their paper? Their paper was totally blank. All right, cool. Were there things that were obviously more difficult than other things to actually find someone to sign on? Were there things that were either more difficult or you actually didn't find anybody to sign on them at all? What were some of those things? Peace. All right? Please raise your hand if you value peace or peace is important to you, even if it's not written on your paper. All right? Great. What's another one? That someone had difficulties finding someone to sign or didn't get someone to sign at all? Life. If you value life or it is important to you, even if it's not written on your paper, please raise your hand. All right? One more. Wilderness. Being outside. It's nature. If that is of value to you, even if it wasn't written on your paper, please raise your hand. All right? Cool. Obviously, what do you think the point of this particular exercise is? Are similar values. Right? How many people have been in a diversity training before? All right? You are the people I have to heal. All right? You're the people I have to fix. How many people have been in a training with me before? All right. When we talk about this diversity stuff, and I was partly joking, but partly serious in terms of fixing people, all too often what ends up happening is we get in these conversations and we spend an inordinate amount of time, too much time, talking about ways in which we are different. And we don't spend enough time talking about the ways in which we are similar, the ways that we are alike. And so when we talk about this cultural competence, we talk about what's happening in our jails, I want us to focus on the things that make us more alike than the things that make us different. Although those differences are important, but they're not the most important thing. They're not the most important thing. When I think about, and I'll point this out to you, that race or gender is actually an optical illusion. It is an optical illusion, something that makes it difficult for us to actually get things done, because it's not that important. Here's an example, and I'll show you in the 5 circles that you wrote down. Please raise your hand if your ethnic or racial background was one of those things you wrote down as important or of value to you. All right? Please raise your hand if you put your gender as one of those 5 things that's important or of value to you. Please raise your hand if you put your gender. All right, please raise your hand if you put your socioeconomic status as one of those 5 things that's important to you. Is that the same as a socioeconomic status? You would say no? Okay. If you say yes, I buy it.
It seems like if you've got a lot of money, you're accepted in a broader manner.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're 100% the same.
Okay. So yeah, I can't disagree with what you're offering, right? You had your hand up, sir?
Yeah, I put financial security, but I don't believe that would be the thing with status, I guess you would say.
Okay. All right, cool. Why do we not put our racial or ethnic background, why do we not put our gender, and why do most of us not put our socioeconomic status as things that are important or of value to us? You said we don't think about it? Okay. Why else? It's just not really a part of our... It's just not... Yeah, it's just not... It's not that important. Right? So here's the million-dollar question. The million-dollar question is, then why do we spend so much time on this thing? And I'm going to answer that question. I was not always black. No, it's not a reverse Michael Jackson thing. I'm not going through a procedure or anything like that. In 1970, October 30th, 2:52 in the afternoon, I got kicked out of the best hotel I've ever been in. The doctor's pulling me out, and then he turns me upside down, and he slaps me, and so I do what any good person would do, is I slap him back. It's an old Richard Pryor joke. It's probably the only one I can tell. The doctor then hands me over to the nurse. The nurse puts me on the scale to take my vitals, and she writes down all this stuff on her checklist, and then she gets to the part of the checklist that changes my life forever. Race. So she looks at me, she looks at my mom, she looks at her list. And on her list, there were only 3 categories: black, white, and other. So she looks at me, she looks at my mom, she looks at her list, she looks at me, she looks at my mom, she looks at her list, she looks at me, and she makes her decision. Guess what she checked? Yes. Black! Why do you think that was so profound for me? Why do you think I thought about that as being profound? Because one of the things I thought about is, what would my life have been if she selected something different? Would my life have been different? The other thing that I also ponder is, what was I before she made a decision about what she thought I was? You see, to each and every one of us, our race, our socioeconomic status, our gender is not that important to us, but it is extremely important to other people. One of the things that I've started to discover is that this concept of race isn't what I was sold. It's not what I was sold. I'm finding out that it's a whole different kind of thing. I'm finding out that what race actually does is it begins to ration rights, justice, finances to different people in different ways. That's not what I was taught. You're this culture and you need to do. But I'm finding out that as the world becomes more sophisticated, so much our thinking about how we relate to one another. These things are not that important to us, but they are important to other people, because then they know how to market to us on Facebook. Then they know how to get us to act in specific and certain kinds of ways in order to make money off of us. I think it's very interesting that every time they've had one of these big court cases in the news, where someone has done something outrageous, maybe it's a superstar or a parent that didn't parent right or something like that, and we pay all this attention to this stuff over here, Congress is either doing something or not doing something they should be doing while we're looking over here. One of the things I thought was really interesting about the assassination of Malcolm X is that they did this classic military. How many people have been in the military? Any military folks? Classic art of deception. So Malcolm X was delivering a speech, and he person over here says, "Get your hand out my pocket!" And so this person over here yelling is obtuse. What does everybody do? They look over there, but the person shoots them from over here. So anytime the media, anytime that even politicians say, "Look over here," I'm always looking over here. Right? And so more of us need to be conscious of that kind of stuff. And so when we talk about this cultural competence, I want us to focus on the fact that we are so much more alike than we are different. And even those of us, how many people would self-identify as being white? Please raise your hand if you self-identify as being white. All right? And we'll get a chance to talk about whiteness in just a minute. All right? So, I did do this last time, but I want to do it this time. You made a choice to come here and have a conversation about this stuff, and I want to make sure that you have the kind of conversation that you want to have. So I'm interested in what you may want to talk about, given the context of what was on the door. So are there some specific questions, approaches, or things that you want to think about with the large group that you had the opportunity to address with me right now? Is there anything? Did you come in with any kind of expectations? What did you hope you were going to get out of this session? What did you want to talk about by coming to this session? No expectations?
Bringing opposites together.
Bringing opposites together. Okay. What's that?
Different types of.
The different types of differences.
Some of the differences in the culture, they're like mom versus things that the behaviors in their culture that we feel that we might not understand, and that might seem offensive to us or strange, but
Okay.
But then actually.
Okay. So they're not that. Okay. So talk about those differences in cultural behaviors. Okay. Other folks. To understand them better. All right. I have a limited amount of time. I might not get to everything that you're asking about.
No, I just think that was sort of what my expectation was.
Yeah.
It has to be that.
No. But I do want you to know that I have resources available that will help do that. If we don't do that. Okay. All right. So let's roll. So I'm going to show this video that is very important to me. So I won't give it too much press. I'll just play it, and then or I thought I would play it. We'll just play it and. Okay.
Let us rise tonight with a greater readiness.